What does the second week of Advent have to do with Palestine, Ukraine, and the difference between Elon Musk and Bill Gates? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Here we go. Before we get to all that, let's talk about two words: peace and peace. Yeah, they sound the same, but they're different words. You obviously know the difference. You can see them on screen. Peace is like a puzzle piece, and peace is like world peace. But these two words, I think, actually have a lot more in common than we would think. We typically think of peace as just the absence of conflict, like when people stop fighting. But that's not peace. Peace is when all the pieces are put back together, when everything is made whole. It's not just when the fighting stops, but it's when wholeness is restored. In Hebrew, there's a fancy word for this called shalom. Let me hear you say it, Blue's Clues style. Shalom. Hey. And this is where peace has everything to do with Palestine, Ukraine, and the difference between Elon Musk and Bill Gates. Let's get into all that. Let's start with Elon and Bill, two of the most famous billionaires in the world. Now, they're both really, really rich. That's obvious. They have a lot of zeros attached to their name, more commas than most of us will ever know what to do with. But the way they use their fortunes is incredibly different. Bill Gates tends to use his money for a lot of philanthropic purposes, helping people in parts of the world who don't have access to vaccines and healthcare. The whole Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is dedicated to giving away most of his wealth before he dies. Him and Warren Buffett made a whole little thing. It's great. Here's a link where you can read more about it. So basically, he's got a lot of money and he's using it to actually bring pieces of a fractured world back towards wholeness. What a great idea. Sounds like peace to me. And then there's Elon Musk. Oh, he uses his money in all sorts of ways. Most recently, he's known for spending lots and lots of his money, or getting a big loan to spend his money to buy Twitter, which was a whole thing, not to mention basically paying for a presidency and getting a seat at the table and cutting most of the American government and then profiting from it somehow. Okay, that's a whole other conversation. And then there's things like SpaceX, where he uses all of his money to invest in the future of humanity, sending us to another planet when this one goes to hell. And you've probably seen the headlines recently where Elon Musk is now on track to become the world's first trillionaire, which is a sentence that doesn't need to exist. He has enough money where he could end world hunger, period. It could just not be a thing anymore. His income, well, here's some things that he could do with all of his money. But the thing is, he's not doing those things. See, some people have a lot of resources, privilege, and power, and they use it to bring the fractured world back together towards wholeness, peace. Other people use their income just to become richer and richer and let the fractures become a profit scheme for them. What? That's just called capitalism. That's another video we need to have. All right, time to run. And then there's everything with Ukraine and Palestine, not to mention Sudan, Congo, so many other places where there's ongoing conflict. But the thing with all these places, we always talk about peace. Peace in the Middle East, peace deal, a ceasefire. Well, a ceasefire is not peace. That's the end of conflict, not the restoration of wholeness. And even all these peace deals, I mean, think about Israel-Palestine. What sort of peace deal would actually be the restoration of wholeness? This land that had been taken for generations. This genocide that has been going on longer than I've been alive. Peace is more than just people putting down their weapons. It's people picking up their plowshares, restoring their homes, their families, having that which was taken from them, given back, and being repaired. Reparations, maybe? Now that sounds a lot more like peace, if you ask me. And back to the whole puzzle thing I started with. A puzzle is complete when all the pieces are put together. That's the image for peace. You know, this kind of peace and this kind of peace. When every piece is put together, you finally have peace. So, second week of Advent, it's all about peace, but not just some kind of like chill out, stop the fighting peace. Put the pieces back together, restore wholeness so everyone and everything feels complete. Week 2, we'll be back to run through week 3 next week.